Coming to you from the Loading Ready Run orbiting underground moon base, it's the LRRcast. Old school LRRcast time, because it's just me and Paul.
Old school LRRcast time would be as if we just had like a laptop here, and we were talking about around that.
That's true. We did just the old MacBooks microphone were surprisingly good.
Except when the fan on the computer would always turn on, and that was bad.
Yeah, that was not great. Yeah. Yeah. So, hey, it's Graham and Paul, and we're here to LRRcast by ourselves. I don't know what James is doing today.
Got better stuff to do.
Ugh. And Kathleen's editing Checkpoint. We were away all last weekend from Thursday through to Monday at GP Calgary, shooting two episodes of Friday nights. The first of which you probably will have seen by the time this goes up. It depends. A lot of the coverage brand team are in Amsterdam for the World's Week right now. So,
and also for the pot.
Also for the pot, I guess. I'm sure Amsterdam is like,
it's like a bunch
yes, we have the pot.
A bunch of the coverage teams in Amsterdam. That's not where the GP is, but they're all in Amsterdam.
So we're going to talk a bit about a couple of videos and then go on to a bunch of Askler. There was no loading time for the episode Keeping Up with the Times, which was the greeting card episode.
Keeping Up with the loading times.
Yeah, which
I guess that was because that was a Friday shoot again, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. So I think we'll have Kathleen talk about that a bit when she's on here next. But I think it was just inspired by the terrible greeting cards.
Yeah, and there was definitely I think about it like it was just Kathleen had a big list of terrible greeting cards that she wanted to do.
Yeah,
and finding a framework in which to put that in.
Yeah, it was I think initially it was going to be sort of like a pitch thing, like a guy pitching like, hey, I got these great ideas for greeting cards that you guys should do for your company. But we just did the one with you pitching the placeholder URL.com.
Right.
And so it turned, it was a similar sort of setup visually, but it turned into, actually like we're going to turn this ship around kind of thing, and it does not work. But yeah, I'm a big fan of a lot of those cards, especially you done fucked up.
Yeah.
I believe we are hoping to investigate actually producing some of those cards. So hopefully you'll be able to buy a little pack of
terrible greeting cards.
But
they'll probably look different than they did in the video.
Yeah.
But the sentiments will be there.
Mm-hmm. No idea when that will actually happen, but we're hoping. And I was really pleased with how that looked, like the lighting in that room. It took us a couple of years. We've known this for a while, but it took us a couple of years initially, for me at least, to figure out, it's like, how do you shoot people with a window behind them without the window just being white, being super blown out? And the trick is to flood them with light from the front. Yeah,
you got to blast them with equivalent or more light from the front.
You see on movie shoots when they're shooting outside, they're just drenching people in light.
Right.
It's obscene. So we just lit Paul and Cam from the front with the normal amount of lights we would use to light someone in a completely dark room, and then adjusted the camera accordingly, and then you could actually see trees outside. Yeah. It was still really bright. But
there's also
you are fighting with the sun.
There's stuff you can get where it's actually like a film that you put on windows.
Yeah, you can
cut
do that.
Some of the light too. That doesn't show up on camera, but it kind of cuts the light.
That was one of the reasons that in Van Dump and in the Friday Nights episodes that the outsides looked so good when we were shooting back into the van. Because in the windshield and the driver's window and the passenger window were normal, but all the other windows were tinted.
Oh, nice.
And it made it look really nice because you could actually see people really well lit and really nice, and you could actually see everything outside as well.
Also great for murdering and abducting people.
Yeah, especially in a van that big.
Yeah, you have
huge van.
You could fit like 3 or 4 bodies in there, no problem.
Yeah, we borrowed that van from Bill's mom actually because we weren't sure how many people we'd have going, and it was still up in the air how many people it would be, and it'd be cheaper to take one vehicle than 2, and so we did that. And what we ended up with actually was a number of people that would have fit in James's van, but they were much more comfortable.
Yeah, it would have been very cramped.
Because she normally doesn't have the seats in. because she uses it for moving stuff around. And so we had to go over and put the seats in. And I was like, wait a minute. Because she had the 2 front seats and then a bench seat directly behind the 2 front seats. And there's 3 other benches because it can carry up to 16 people.
Right.
Not comfortably. And so we were like, all right, wait. What if we take that one out, put the second bench in and the last bench?
Oh, just every other bench.
Yeah. So it meant that the people in the front seats had the normal amount of space. Then the first bench had everything between there and the front seats. So they had tons of room just for luggage and legroom and stuff. And then the people in the back had the same amount of room.
So everyone just had tons of legroom.
So there was just lots of space, and it made shooting in there really nice.
Cool.
Yeah, and everyone had legroom, so it was great. But you'll see that. Well, I mean, you saw it in Van Dump already, so yeah, it was really, really handy. It was a little difficult when we were shooting Van Dump because it was like whenever we would do, I guess because we don't do loading times on Feed Dump, well, except the one loading time on Feed Dump that we did. So I was filming most of it. We were using the lapel mic, which is why it sounds so much better this time.
So there isn't like
it's just not
outside the car noise.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of engine noise, but we were using the lapel mic and it sounded really, really nice because it's a very close audio thing. So when I'm in shot, Kathleen is filming me and Cam is listening to the audio, and then when anyone in the back seat, Alex, Jer, or Tally is talking, I have to pass the camera to Kathleen, and she sort of puts it over behind her bench and films them, and Cam still monitors the audio, and they pass the microphone around. And then when Cam and Kathleen are in shot, well, if it's just Kathleen, I'm filming and Cam is monitoring audio. If it's just Cam, I'm filming and Kathleen is monitoring audio. But in the shot where it's the both of them, I'm filming. James can't monitor audio. He's driving. So Tally in the back is monitoring audio.
Nice.
And so it's this just handing all the equipment around. Thank God our lapel mic has a stupidly long cable on it. Those things came in so handy. Oh my God, so handy. I mean, we could be a little surreptitious with when we were filming.
Right.
You know, we shot a scene on the ferry, which I don't know if you're strictly allowed to do or not. We didn't ask, but
because like
with a boom, it's a little obvious.
Yeah, with our camera, like our camera just looks like a regular camera, so it's not that unusual. But the boom is pretty much a dead giveaway.
So that was fun. And then the other video we shot, which there is a loading time for, which I'll be putting up the day that we record this. In fact, I'm uploading it to YouTube right now. Was floating solo. Or Astronaut TBD.
Yes, Astronaut video to be determined.
Yeah.
Because that was actually a good name. I like that.
Oh, good. Because I came up with that at night and I was like, I have to upload this. What do I tell them?
What do I call it? Yeah.
Which your brother came up with.
Yes. So it was originally, my brother lives in Boston and he's been doing it was sort of a sketch comedy and improv class because he's a big fan of all that kind of stuff. And as part of the class, he had to write a bunch of sketches now to be performed live. That's what the idea was. And so he wrote a bunch. I think he ended up writing 5 or 6 sketches. And they went through a couple of rounds of revisions and stuff. And they decided to do, I believe, 2 of his sketches they did. But then there's a bunch that weren't that they decided not to use just for whatever reason. And so he'd been sort of telling me about these scripts, and so I was like, well, anything that they that doesn't work for them, sometimes doing it in video has sort of a different requirement than doing it live. And so send them over, and so he sent over some, and this was the one that seemed like it would work the best, especially because it was originally framed as the sort of like video update, right? And so, I mean, on stage it would have been fine, but it's obviously makes a lot more sense to be doing it in video. And it was actually originally 3 people. It was originally a guy and his wife were the 2 people being sent, and then there was a third guy who was like a third wheel who was just sort of added in. But basically the wife didn't have much to do in it. Like she was just basically kind of trying to be like peacemaker between the 2 guys. And I kind of thought it was funnier to have the guy like thought he was going to be alone.
The world's first solo manned mission.
Yeah, which I think is even more of a shock.
Yeah.
And so we went through and did a lot of tweaking on it. So first I went through and changed it to just 2 people. And so some of the lines that were originally for the wife actually got sort of distributed between the 2 people. And then and I made a few, and I added like the stinger with the True Blood thing, and the stinger, because his thing obviously didn't have a stinger.
Full disclosure, we do not watch True Blood.
No. But I know a fair amount about it now because of Wikipedia.
So is every character on that show some sort of mythical creature? I thought it was about vampires, but in the thing there's a werewolf,
vampires,
and
then
someone's a half fairy.
Yeah, the main character is a half fairy, the Anna Paquin character.
All right.
And yeah, there's all sorts of special people.
Sure.
In different ways, and they all fall in love with Anna Paquin's character at different times because she's irresistible.
Apparently, she's a fairy.
So yeah, and I sent that back to my brother, and I was like, "This is what we're doing." And we actually went back and forth on it a few times, adding some stuff. Like added the True Blood thing at the end, and then my brother was like, "Okay, well, we've got to have some more True Blood stuff during the thing to sort of make that so that it's sort of established that that's something that guy's really excited about."
Right.
And so we sort of tweaked lines and messed around with things and tried to figure out how to make it sort of punch it up and make it as funny as possible. So it was a cool process, sort of going back and forth on it. It's
and we, of course, the loading time is of us shooting it, so we don't get to reflect on it in the loading time. But I was really pleased with how the effects turned out, both practical and the visual effects. Really a shame about that one bit where the thread is visible, because we were using a nylon, like a fishing line, and it reflected the light at one angle, and I guess actually just like black thread probably would have been better, but we were going for transparent.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate, but whatever. Some of the stuff that's floating around is actually, like when James is mucking around with the thing, the stuff that floats past was actually just shot separately on the screen. And then when his wrapper floats away, that's Lily on basically a fishing rod.
Yeah.
And then when my cranberry juice floats away, that's Kathleen on the fishing rod, which some people called. And then the
bumping into his face was not actually intentional. At least according to Kathleen, it wasn't.
No, I mean, like the plan was that it was going to float after the line.
It was going to float out in front of you. It was going to
just sort of float past me again.
Yeah.
And then she misjudged the depth, so she claims, and biffed me in the face, but it was funny. So, and then the visual effect, apart from James flying past in the background at the beginning, is
which is James, by the way. For some reason, a lot of people thought that was me.
Yeah, they were like waiting for a third person. Sorry if that was confusing. Was the juice, which was a CG object, a particle emitter, producing a bunch of spheres, which had a metaball tag applied to them, meaning that it would read the spheres as...
They'd all kind of bloop together.
Yeah, like droplets of like a mass, and did a lot of different experimenting with the speed and the amount and the size and the friction and the gravity, and tracking the emitter to the video, which was, tricky, because it wasn't just... in an instance like that, you can't just have like a video asset of something going and then do like a normal motion track like we've done before, because what you need to do is the place where they're coming out has to move, but because it's in zero gravity, as soon as it's out of the thing,
it wouldn't be attached to it.
It no longer moves in relation to...
I mean, luckily
I'm making some hand gestures. If you're not watching the video, it's probably a little less clear, but I hope that makes sense.
I mean, luckily you held the thing relatively still while you were doing the
relatively
squeezing.
Still. Yeah. But yeah, what I was able to do was I brought the video in as a texture in the 3D program and put it on just a plane in the background and animated the texture, and then I just went by frame and moved and angled and rotated the emitter so that it was following along with where it was, and then only emitted for the amount of time that I was squeezing it and everything. And it actually only took me probably about an hour and a half to do that whole thing. Thankfully, I've done a non-zero amount of 3D stuff before, so I had a theory. We weren't just like, yeah, we'll shoot this and then Graham will do something. Like
right.
Like we went in knowing that I'd be able to do that.
Do that.
But it was not something I'd done specifically before, so I was really pleased with how that turned out.
Yeah, we like it's.
I even used a reflection map of the same background, so you can actually see some of it in the reflecting properly.
You probably have to see it in super HD to actually see that.
Probably, yeah.
But anyway, it was it was really like I was super stoked with how it turned out, and it was fun to do, and we did some looking at the updates from the International Space Station videos, to get an idea of how people move, with the sort of the thing with the arms kind of up and it's kind of a neutral position and all that kind of stuff. I think it I think all that you and James did a great job of that. So
yeah, I thought that went well. All right, we have a bunch of Ask Claire questions that we're going to get to. These were all from Twitter because we aren't sure where we actually are in the cycle here of Twitter, Facebook, and the forums. But
James usually keeps track of that.
Yeah, and we had to start recording, so we were like, well, guess it's Twitter. So Sam asks, would you rather have a fist made out of ham or an armpit that dispenses sun cream?
Is this like
sunscreen? I think
your fist made out of ham?
I believe so. I would rather the armpit that dispenses sun cream because the fist made out of ham, much as I like ham, would make it impractical to do things. Whereas the other thing is actually totally practical. It's like, oh, it's a sunny day. Let me just.
Yeah, and it's like, one, you don't want to eat your own hand.
No.
And two, the ham is going to go bad.
Yeah.
And it'll just be like, have a rotten ham hand.
Yeah.
Nobody wants that.
Terrible. Chris asks, are there any bad habits you have that you wish you could quit? I don't know if it's a bad habit, but I wish I could figure out a better sleep schedule. My current sleep schedule is not scalable. It's not. I work better at night when there's less stuff happening, like in the world. In our part of the world, obviously things are happening all the time in every part of the world, but you know what I mean. But it does mean that I am bad at that.
Mm. I mean, there's certainly all the sort of productivity stuff that I wish I could, not spending so much time looking at Reddit and browsing random things. Obviously, that's a bad habit, but I don't know whether that can. I don't know what can.
You need to give your brain a rest every so often.
Actually, one habit I do have that I've been trying to reduce is I usually keep my iPad just by my bed, and I depending on what I happen to be need to do during the day. I often spend way more time than I should. After I wake up, I just wake up and then take my iPad and start reading my RSS feeds and all that stuff. So it's the time from actually when I wake up to when I get up can be quite large.
Yep.
And it feels it's like I woke up at 8:00. Why is it 11 now?
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll read email. I'll reply to email and for all intents and purposes, read the morning paper in bed.
But
and then I'm like, I should have gotten up and had food.
Yeah.
Or a coffee or something.
Or it's and all the stuff I just did, I could have done way faster if I'd actually bothered to get up and just done it on the computer.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then doing the same thing before you go to bed at night, too.
Yeah. Yax asks, what is your most listened to video game soundtrack? I have a couple, and I know that one of mine is also one of yours, which is the soundtrack for the Neverhood.
Well, the Neverhood and Skull Monkeys.
The Neverhood, it's the album Skull Monkeys and Boombots.
Yeah,
right?
it's Imaginarium, I think it's called.
Oh, is that two different albums?
No, it's it's called Imaginarium. It's all three of the games.
Oh, okay. Anyway,
I
Terry
believe
Scott Taylor.
Yeah, Terry Scott Taylor
is the composer, and just a weird style.
Yeah, I don't know if I actually have any.
I believe he's back doing the soundtrack for their new game.
For the new one, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I have any other actual just straight video games albums.
The Final Fantasy VII soundtrack. I love that it's.
Do you actually have that on your computer or whatever?
Yeah, I do. I have all 4 discs on my computer. Actually, I have all 4 discs for real, but I have all 4 discs on the computer. I didn't just pirate them. And as beautiful as the orchestral rearrangements are, There's something about the old MIDI versions that I just love.
I find, I've actually been somewhat disappointed in the orchestral arrangement sometimes, because they are rearrangements, of course, and sometimes the parts that they, I guess, felt were the theme, are different, because with the MIDI or the mods or whatever they use for the thing, everything's sort of the same volume and it just kind of plays.
Yeah.
And so the parts that I sort of consider to be kind of the important part of the music is sometimes de-emphasized in the orchestral version. I'm like, no, I don't want to hear that part. I want to hear this part.
Yeah. And, and the soundtrack, the non-original soundtrack, i.e. the soundtrack comprised of other people's songs that I've listened to the most, definitely is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2.
Yeah. It's not really a soundtrack those are all songs.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah.
Really, really good. I was really big on what was it?
Cyclone
by the Dub Pistols.
In some ways, I've listened to a lot of that because I've listened to a bunch of those songs just straight.
Yeah, that's what
just
I
mean. Not in the collection of Tony Hawk. But.
Yeah. Someone... Bobage Ta Druid asks, how can I effectively become a house? Well, you'll need at least one bedroom and bathroom. I'd recommend a couple. Like a couple bedrooms at least.
Doorway, a couple windows, a roof.
And then just let some people move in and live inside you.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have the capacity to have a garden. I think you have to work towards that. But basically follow your dreams.
You might want to start with little people.
Mm-hmm.
Like get some of those.
Not like the PC correct like little people. I mean like actually like just some very very small. Thinking like the borrowers.
Yeah, thinking like borrowers or like the carpet people or
like just Lilliputians in general.
Yeah. There's a movie that just the Miyazaki movie that just came out.
Oh, well that was the borrowers, wasn't it? Yeah, it was.
Was it? Oh.
Yeah, it was actually it was a Miyazaki adaptation of because it was called Arrietty's something.
Yeah.
And Arrietty was one of the borrowers. It is just an adaptation of the borrowers.
Well, anyway, so that you definitely want to start small and work your way up to full-size people.
Full-size people, yeah. Graduated people. So, Josh asks, Graham, Baxter seems to have settled in nicely. Fact. How are your thoughts on having a cat of your own? Well, I've lived with cats for several years now, and even though Annika and Kavrin were not technically, my cats, they were our cats. So it's not that different. Like it doesn't feel that much different because Kathleen and I are still caring for him and doting on him and going, oh, look at the kitty. But that's about it. Like, there was never, like, well, your cat threw up in the hallway. We both were pretty even on our division of scooping and wiping.
I know there's a blog I was reading a while ago that I always talked about that he had joint custody of a dog.
Yeah,
that it's like he got a dog with his ex-girlfriend. And now they like share the dog because they both like the dog so much.
Oh, that's nice.
They don't like each other, but they like the dog.
Michael asks, have there been any Let's Players that you have enjoyed watching or that have influenced GPLP? I don't find myself watching a lot of Let's Plays.
No. I mean,
there's a guy that does.
I guess the various streams are sort of Let's Plays, but
yeah, like there's one of two guys. Only because so there's two guys that do a lot of playing this game Happy Wheels, which is it's a physics based. It's like Trials, but you can make custom levels and you have different characters that have different sort of weights and physics and stuff.
Right, yeah.
And one of them is like a dad on a bike with a kid on a bike seat on the back. And anyway, people make these levels. And there's two guys who are known on YouTube as just sort of general video casters and Let's Players and stuff, Tobuscus and PewDiePie. And I haven't watched PewDiePie only because I just haven't watched them. I don't necessarily dislike him. I just haven't watched him. And I stumbled across Tobuscus doing, or Toby, I guess his name is, doing these Happy Wheels videos. And they're pretty funny just because basically he goes through all the user-generated levels. It's like I did this once on our Twitch stream. I looked at all the community-generated levels for Portal 2. So he has no idea what he's getting into at the beginning of each one, and he gets very, very excitable. But mostly, I watch stuff on Twitch. Actually, recently I saw the European Speedsters Assembly, which is a group that does speedruns in Europe, did a fundraiser for Doctors Without Borders, where they were doing like 6 days of speedruns, and they would just like be like, all right, this person's going to take 2 hours and do a speedrun of this game, and then this person's going to have 3 hours and do a speedrun of this game, and then these two are going to do a speedrun race. And it was really, really cool. But my favorite part of the whole thing was streamer Joshamoose, or Josh, from England, judging only by his accent, doing a speedrun of GTA San Andreas. And now I love speedruns, but my preference, and it's so rare, is when you get a speedrun that you can download and watch that has a commentary track to actually explain what the fuck they're doing and why.
Right.
And there's a couple on the Speed Demos archive that have that. But what was great about this is because it was a live stream, there was him, and he was playing and explaining very clearly what he was doing, and he was doing a really good job of hosting it. And there was another guy with him who does 100% speedruns of GTA San Andreas, who was also sort of weighing in and being like, in the 100% version, you have to do it this way. And, you know, it was really, really interesting to watch. And the replay is on their Twitch channel. I'll have to, because it wasn't actually easily searchable. It was like, the channel name was like Lucindy or Lucendi or something. I'm not entirely sure what the channel was. But the point is, he did it in like 6 hours and 10 minutes. And I couldn't watch the whole thing at once, but I made sure to go back and finish watching the replay. And it was really, really interesting to watch.
Cool.
And he was just a fun guy to watch doing it. So.
Yeah, I'll try to link to that.
Mm-hmm. Jonathan asks, what is the second best Rocky movie?
The second best? 4, I would think. For me, anyway. I'm assuming they're saying
First Blood. I actually am. I am remiss in my encyclopedic knowledge of the Rocky franchise. I know that there's been.
There's been 5.
5, and then Rocky Balboa.
I'm actually not sure if there was a 5th one before the remake or the redo, but
to IMDb,
I know the 4th one is the one with Dolph Lundgren and the fighting Soviet super science and all that stuff. So
okay, sweet. Yes, there was a Rocky 5 and then Rocky Balboa.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm assuming he's saying the second best because like the first one is the best.
I guess.
Which
I thought isn't Rocky 2 considered to be pretty good, or am I thinking of the? What's the one where he fights Mr. T?
That would be 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're bad people to ask.
Sorry.
Have you ever considered doing a parody of Will Wheaton's Tabletop? No, I have not considered that.
No.
I don't really know how we would parody that.
Isn't it just them
playing board games?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
it?
I don't watch that, so I'm not totally sure either.
What's the most sleep deprived you've ever been, and was it worth it?
You've seen it on Desert Bus.
Yeah, actually,
like we have video evidence of it.
As sleep deprived as I get during Desert Bus, which is absolutely worth it. I think actually the most sleep deprived I've ever been on video was for the season 2 or 3 or something, like the sleep deprivation experiment, which was not worth it.
No.
It was not, because we had a plan for that whole thing. We were going to do it up like a game show, and then we just got tired and it completely fell apart, and it was just filming us going completely loopy.
Because of course, yes, yeah, you can't have the people who are doing the sleep deprivation also being the people who have to plan the whole thing.
Yeah, I can't remember where I slept that night. I remember tapping out, and there's video of me being like, all right, I'm done with this. And I can't remember because it wasn't far from where I lived at the time. I wonder if I actually did try to walk home or if I just crashed there.
How long was it for you?
Long time. I'm trying to remember if we did crest 40. It was definitely more than 30 hours.
Yeah.
I think it was like 36, I want to say. I'll have to go back into the video and check. But we started on Friday at like 10 a.m.
Right.
And then...
Like, I think I've definitely...
I don't know why we thought that was a good idea.
Over 24 during Desert Bus.
Yeah.
Like, it's always at the end of Desert Bus. Because you, like, get there really early. Or, like, for me, I get there really early, and I'm doing it. And then it's like, okay. Okay, I'm tired. I'm going to leave now. Well, we're pretty close to the end. I'll maybe just keep, I can just kind of power through. And then, of course, the end gets farther and farther away. And you're always like, should I go home? Well, I'll keep staying.
Yeah. The weird thing that I remember, and I can't remember if we talked about this in the video. This video might not even be up on the site anymore. Actually, I should check. Was that we were playing GTA San Andreas actually to keep ourselves awake because to keep us interested, and we kept doing this thing where Morgan was playing, and he could drive, but he couldn't drive and look at the mini map at the same time. It was too difficult to like look back and forth on the screen to see where he was going. So I was like, okay, you drive and I'll direct you based on the mini map.
Right.
And I kept doing this thing where it would be a left turn, and I would think that's a left turn. It's time to turn left, and I would point left, and I would say turn right.
Huh. Interesting. You just got your left and rights.
I don't know
somehow.
why. And so after the fourth time it happened, I was like, I'll just point. And I started being like, nah. And I would point in the direction, and he would see it, and it would be fine. Because I could visualize it on the mini map, and I could point in the direction the mini map was saying, but I couldn't force myself to say it.
Did you have any other weird, like not being able to speak properly stuff?
Not that I remember. Like the big problem with the sleep type experiment was that we didn't eat well. We were like, yeah, we'll just get sugar and energy drinks and it'll be fine, which we discovered is not tenable. You need nutrients, and that's why we just didn't work well. Yeah, there we go. June 24th, 2005.
If I recall correctly,
Bill, Morgan, Graham, James, and Derek.
That was
our friend Derek.
My favorite part of that video was that Morgan actually like went to work in the middle of it.
Oh yeah, and we didn't we like walk down and interview him there?
Yeah.
Oh, this is still QuickTime hosted on our own site.
Yep.
Wow, that is old school. All right, well, I'll have to watch that after this now. Wait, why'd I put my phone away? We have more questions. Scott asks, your favorite board or card game that you all play other than Magic the Gathering? I'll just say this right now. I never got into Risk.
No.
Was never a big Risk fan. And I know that that's astonishing for a lot of people. But
really?
Yeah. I've always enjoyed like Monopoly and Clue and games like that. But like these days, I love the D&D board games, like the randomly generated dungeon tile ones.
And
Lords of Waterdeep.
Yeah, the Lords of Waterdeep is probably the board game I've enjoyed the most lately.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't played it that much, but
Kathleen's really good at Gin Rummy and Crib.
Yeah,
Crib Shark.
I used to play Crib a lot with my grandma, but
yeah. Justin asks, "Hey Freakazoid, want to go for a mint?" Okay. Remember Freakazoid?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
I'm assuming that's a quote from Freakazoid. I don't
know
what the proper response is. I mean,
I think it's just okay. Like, doesn't he always go with Cosgrove, no matter what it is or what he's doing?
Pretty much, yeah. But
it's Ed Asner. How can you say no to Ed Asner?
I really like Freakazoid, but I don't know what the
point is.
The call and response is for that.
The point is go watch Freakazoid. Josh asks, "What should I have for supper?" Taco salad. It's dead easy to make at home.
It's tacos and also salad.
Like the only
so you can pretend it's kind of healthy.
The only remotely challenging part. It's actually not bad for you either. The only remotely difficult part is you just get some ground meat of your choice, beef usually, but you can get ground chicken or ground turkey, or I guess you could get ground round if you're a vegetarian. Throw it in a pan, taco spices, all that fried up, and then just get a bowl, shred up some lettuce, tomato, chunks of avocado. You don't even need to make guacamole, just chunks of avocado, salsa, cheese, sour cream, or goat yogurt. And then just throw the meat in there, mix it all up, done. It's really straightforward to make, and it's super tasty.
I mean, it's basically everything that would go into taco.
In a bowl.
But way too much lettuce.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like if that was a taco, you'd be very disappointed in the amount of lettuce.
Mm-hmm.
You'd be like, this is kind of a ripoff.
Yeah.
But
you can
if
adjust
it's a
that
salad,
yourself. It's fine.
It's fine. It's supposed to be what it's like.
James asks, if you had to sum me up with 3 words, what would they be? This is James Turner.
Oh, this is James?
This is James. Sum James up in 3 words.
I will sum him up with the 3 words that he's actually in my phone as, which is the Ken Burns effect.
Ken Burns effect.
Yeah.
I only need 1 word. Majestic. Because he is. Who would win in a fight? Bearded Paul or beardless Paul?
I thought it was just who would win. I feel like, bearded Paul has, he's got the beard, which is obviously going to have some advantage.
Mm-hmm.
But beardless Paul's he's got more experience.
Mm-hmm.
Beardless Paul's been around a while.
That's true. You've been beardless for more than you've been bearded.
Have I?
Well, when did you grow your beard first? After would it have to have been after high school?
Yeah, it was 2001.
Yeah. So yeah.
And then would have been.
Well, consider that when you graduated high school, you would have been 18.
Yeah.
So there's 18 years of beardless Paul right there.
Oh, that's true. If you count like pre-beard, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Experience.
So yeah, I feel like beardless Paul might have the edge.
Mm-hmm.
But
bearded Paul is tenacious.
Bearded Paul is tenacious and has the beard,
Exactly.
which cannot be underestimated.
Yeah. Stephen asks, when will the next GPLPB? GPLPB. When will you be doing another GPLP? Is basically what he's asking, and we want to do one soon. He's requesting Blood Dragon, which could be fun.
I feel like that might be too ridiculous.
I think he just wants to see us play.
Kind of makes fun of itself, but it is I've beaten Blood Dragon and it is a lot of fun.
Different James asks, what podcasts do you listen to? I only really listen to, I don't have a lot of time for podcasts these days. I mostly only listen to the Limited Resources podcast, which we've mentioned a lot, but I know that you listen to a bunch. In the magic stuff, I also listen to Drive to Work, which is Mark Rosewater's podcast, which is literally recorded as he drives to work. Yeah. I do listen to something else. What's it called now? What's Terry O'Reilly's new show? He used to do The Age of Persuasion, and then he's doing exactly the same show with a different name.
I don't know.
Okay, you talk more. I'll look it up.
And there's a bunch of podcasts I listen to, like I have in my feeds, but I only listen to if they have somebody on that I'm particularly excited about. It'd be like The Nerdist, WTF with Mark Maron, Bullseye with Jesse Thorne, and the other one that I quite like is there's the Judge John Hodgman podcast, which is excellent. That's people bring various extremely petty arguments, and he makes pronouncements on them.
Nice.
In a very serious way.
It's called Under the Influence. It's Terry O'Reilly's new show. It's about advertising. It's amazing.
And there's also How Did This Get Made, which is a great podcast with Paul Scheer. He's in a bunch of really funny stuff, and they just watch terrible movies, and then essentially they watch a terrible movie and then they just like give you a recap of the movie, and just by like listening to them try to recap the movie. And they keep like cracking each other.
So you don't
up.
listen to them watching it.
No,
it's just them being okay.
It's like it's like okay. So and then basically like it started out. I think when they first started doing the thing was them talking about like all the stupid stuff in the movie.
Right.
But it's at the point now where it is literally just them. It's like okay, so it's like it starts out like they basically them just recapping the movie, but then they often get like confused as to the order that things came in, or they'll be like somebody's like, and then this guy who is this guy's brother, and then the other person who would be like, that was that guy's brother. oh, that makes so much sense now. It is basically emphasizing the fact that these movies that they're watching are so poorly put together that there's a lot of disagreement among them who like literally just came from watching the movie what was actually going on in it.
Awesome.
And like riff tracks and stuff, because it's just them talking about the movie, they don't have to do like old movies. They can do new stuff too. So it's great.
Do you know what SWAK stands for? WSAK?
No.
How often do the crew SWAK merch before postage? Well, we don't send our own merch anymore. PA does that now. SWAK.
Yeah, don't know.
Sealed with a kiss?
Oh.
Oh.
I don't think we've ever done that.
No.
We probably would have done it if somebody requested it,
Yeah.
but we don't just, put our mouths on your merchandise without your requesting to do it.
Was it the good universe or the evil universe that you two came from?
I hope it was the good universe.
Well, I'm from Earth 1.
Earth 1?
Yeah. Golden Age.
Oh, okay.
Where Superman has gray hairs up here and the Flash wears a bowl as a helmet.
Right. So, yeah, they're all old because they're all from Golden Age.
Yeah. Are we on Earth Prime? Is that what this Earth is in the Marvel continuity?
I don't know.
Because this Earth exists in the Marvel universe.
DC Universe.
DC Universe, pardon me.
It's not Prime, I don't think.
No.
I don't know.
It's something else. Anyway.
Earth Butt.
Can you settle once and for all if bears do shit in the woods and if the Pope is in fact Catholic?
I would think that it would be yes for both of those things.
I think the Pope is provably Catholic.
Mm.
I don't know why people keep having difficulty with that question.
In fact, the interesting thing is if the Pope wasn't Catholic, whatever the Pope was would become Catholic.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure that's part of the definition of Catholic.
I do not have verifiable first party evidence of bears shitting in the woods, but I think it can be assumed.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's videos on YouTube.
Yeah. I think even if that wasn't the bear's first choice, I don't think you could make a call that bears do not shit in the woods.
Right.
I don't think it would be
the idea of a bear living in the woods but then coming out of the woods in order to shit and then going back in.
Yeah. Every time.
Seems unnecessary.
Yeah. Like what if they're in a rush, if they wake up and they're like, "Uh-oh,
I got to poop."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going to say yes. Michael asks, if you had to sum up James LRR with 3 onomatopoeic sounds, what would they be? Would be one of them. Ooh, that's a good one. And I don't know. Whoop, 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 whoop. I don't know what that third one means, but all right, let's go for it. If you didn't answer my previous question, what are the chances of having this one answered? High, because we answered both of them. Who's the most interesting person you've got to guest star in a Loading Ready Run video? How many people have we got to guest star in Loading Ready Run videos?
The most interesting person to guest star, or the most interesting person who also guest starred? I mean, Will Wheaton was pretty cool.
Yeah, he's a cool guy. Probably Will.
Yeah.
All right.
Sure, let's say that.
Kinogami says, you are recruited by Disney to do viral promotional material for the Star Wars relaunch.
Sweet.
What do you do? Well, panic first, I think. Well, no, dance. Dance and roll around in money. Then panic.
Then panic. Then more dancing and then more panicking.
Yeah, that goes on for about a week. And then we're like, no, seriously, we've already cashed this check. We should really figure out what we're going to do.
So.
And then I have no idea.
And then, but it's like trying to do, because the trick with the promotional thing is you got to do it, but you can't be like making fun of Star Wars. I
always thought that Star Wars would do really well as a TV series, as like a, like Star Wars, like Chronicles kind of thing,
Wasn't that what the cartoon is basically? Like the
What,
Clone Wars?
No. I don't mean like. I mean like each episode is. I mean like the Outer Limits. I mean like each episode is a different story with different characters. Just like little self-contained things. Just
stuff within the Star Wars universe.
Just flesh out the universe. It's an amazing universe. That's the most right thing that George did in the whole.
I like that actually. Like a bunch of stuff, not dealing with
the plot,
the characters of Star Wars, but just other bounty hunters, other Jedi.
Obviously, if we did it, it would be funny.
Yeah, but just maybe and sort of, and as we did with like the waiting for Harry or whatever stuff.
Yeah.
Sort of looking at how the events in the Star Wars movies have maybe affected other people in the universe.
Yeah.
That
I want to know what happens to all the staff at Jabba's palace after he gets strangled by Leia.
Right.
He's got a lot of infrastructure in there.
Yeah. Or like all the stormtroopers who are now, the Empire is gone. So it's like, what do they do?
Yeah. Or like, heck, the stormtroopers, like just before they bust through the door at the beginning of A New Hope, like there's all sorts of things that, and even much, much further tangentially related, just like someone on another planet that you don't ever see in the movies, and they're just hearing about this sort of thing. Like they don't even have to be that closely tied to it.
Right,
I think it'd be really interesting.
Yeah, just stuff sort of within the universe. I think could be quite fun.
So someone send that to Disney and get back to us. My email is graham@loadingreadyrun.com.
Should we wrap up?
Should we wrap up?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's do. Let's say 2 more questions. Wow, there was a different question about game soundtracks. Toothpaste Laser asks, "Has Graham ever been to the Hart Family Dungeon?" I have not. It's in Calgary, isn't it?
I don't know.
I think so. It's
their like gym.
Yeah, it's like where Stu Hart and stuff trained the Hart family. All right. What is the worst? What is the worst not so bad it's good movie you own on tape or DVD? Mine is the 2010 Gulliver's Travels.
I like the worst. Actually worse, not so bad it's good, but actually just bad.
Oh, so bad. Oh, okay. So what's the worst movie that you own?
I
try to get rid of a lot of.
Yeah.
I try to get rid of stuff that's crap.
I literally own like 3 movies on tape, so and they're not ones that I would consider bad because I didn't buy them.
Yeah.
It's really a question for Matt.
Yeah.
Like I don't buy movies on DVD and stuff that often unless it's something that I really, really like.
I think it's probably. I try to get rid of stuff that I don't like, and I try not to buy it in the first place. I think it's probably Run Ronnie Run, which I like. I really like that movie, and it's got some parts that are hilarious. But it's probably still the worst movie I own.
Yeah. It's definitely flawed.
Yeah, it was the Mr. Show movie, which again I'd recommend watching it. That's the thing, I like it, but it's probably the worst movie I own.
Because it's I mean, even the 2 guys will say that it is seriously flawed. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately.
Indeed. Well, thank you all for listening to Paul and I answer your questions and talk.
It would be hard to answer questions if we didn't talk.
Extensive interpretive dance.
Semaphore.
Yeah. Okay. We're going to go away. We're going to learn semaphore. And we're going to come back. And next week... Yeah, we can't promise we're going to do that.
You don't make promises like that.
No.
People will actually hold us to it.
Yeah. Okay. We will talk to you guys next time.
All right. Talk to you later.
Thanks for listening. Bye.